Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest World Football Show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook from the app Because We Win team. Here on the Betting Weekly Extra Time podcast with myself, Steve Wyss, and RJ. We're back for episode number 5 of this World Football Show. We're back in profit, RJ, plus 0.61 profit with an ROI of 3.05%. Overall winners last week. You were close to that clean sweep yourself, RJ. Very unlucky in South Korea.
Yeah, as we talked about a little bit briefly, Steve, it was some trickery going on out there, if you will. I saw 3 goals were ruled off for offsides, maybe 2, and then one was a foul. But maybe they'll be practicing that in this week just to see if they can stay on sides next match. But it's part of the game. It happens. But glad to be in profit this past week and overall, and looking forward to keeping that momentum this week.
Yeah, I hit 2 out of 3 winners, and to be fair, the one I did lose on Elfsborg against IFK Gothenburg there. Gothenburg actually played a lot better than I expected they would, and I've no problems losing that pick. We move on to this weekend. We've got 3 picks each. We're going to start with you, RJ, here. You're going into Iceland. This is on the 21st of July, and it's going to be what's interesting. I was looking at the results in the Iceland top division recently, and a lot of Kappas out there were losing on Iceland top division because there were several under matches involved, and I don't really know. It's known for being a very high scoring country. You're in the first division of the second tier of Iceland, and you've got a match between Fjolnir and Aegir. Talk us through your pick for the game.
Yeah, great again. Thank you with the pronunciation help, Steve. That was perfect. We'll go with that. So for Fjolnir, the home side minus 435 on the money line. They're in second place, 9 points out of the top spot against Aegir, who are in last place in the Icelandic first division, one deal as they call it. They're plus 800. So the play I'm looking at here is most know I target goals. So I'm looking at over 3.25 goals at minus 110. For Fjolnir, led by 25-year-old forward Mani Hilmarsson. He's essentially just an Icelandic journeyman who's been around the Iceland leagues since he's been around 17, 18 years old. He's played for the youth teams. And for Fjolnir, so arguably the top home side in the first division in Iceland. They have 16 goals for in just 5 matches, which if you do the math, that's around 3.2 goals for per match this side at home. The interesting fact is they have only kept a clean sheet just once so far in their first 5 matches. And we are about 52% done. So we'll call it 50% through the season. So we have a good data set to work with. This home side, Fjolnir, is based out of Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland. They were relegated from the top division in Iceland last season, and obviously they're looking to get their way back up. Right, they're sitting in second place. They are one of the few sides, though, in Iceland to not win a title in the top division. So there's a little bit of history there. I think they were founded around 1990. And then Aegir, the away side, who's a side who was recently promoted from the second division in Iceland, were a side founded in 1937. And they've essentially been a mainstay in the lower divisions in Iceland. They focus a lot on youth development. And for them, they've made it up from the 4th tier all the way to this we'll call it the first, below the Premier Division tier. So it's a pretty big step for them. So one interesting thing about this match, so they are plus 800. All right. So they're obviously clear underdogs. But if you look at the goal total, over 0.5 goals. So essentially for them to just score 1 goal is minus 155. All right. They have really failed to score on the road. They're a pretty terrible side. But it's interesting to see that number. So the books, although they have Fjolnir favored to win the match, do believe that they'll put a goal up on the board. So I found that interesting. Anyways, again, from a stat perspective, Fjolnir 3.2 goals for, 1.4 against. They've only kept a clean sheet in 1 of their last 5 home matches. Aegir, on the other hand, 1.4 goals for, 2.4 against. So having yet to keep a clean sheet nor failed to score. The away side has some fight in them. And then Phil Joyner coming off 2 draws with obviously a need to kind of keep up with the first place side. Afturelding, what's my best work at that pronunciation? They're 9 points behind them for that guaranteed promotion spot. So again, coming off 2 draws, they'll be looking hungry to snatch all 3 points against this bottom dweller Igear side.
Yeah, over 3.25 goals there. That's the pick. So
Yep.
if there are 3 goals exactly, you'll only lose half your stake, which is always a useful tool to have in your back pocket just in case. But yeah, this looks like it should be quite a high scoring affair. The bottom of the table, Aguirre here, 9 out of 12 defeats, just 1 clean sheet. Actually came in their most recent match, but that was against the other team right down there at the bottom of the table. That's Iceland Division, 2nd tier in Iceland. I'm going to move us to Sweden again. And once again, I'm getting involved in an Elfsborg game. I can't avoid Elfsborg games this season, RJ. They're really generally quite a good team to watch. They're playing good football, quite open. And I got it wrong last week. They didn't perform. But I think I underestimated IFK Gothenburg. It was a derby fixture. And they just gave it all for their fans. Now, the match this week is Guertin against Elfsborg. The pick I like is over 2.75 goals. This is 4th place against 1st. Elfsborg drew, but actually it turned out to be a decent draw for them because Malmo lost yet again, the big team really in Sweden, the biggest club. And they lost at Guertin 2-0. And I was dead impressed with how Guertin played in that game. They got a fantastic home record, Guertin, from Stockholm. 8 out of 9 home wins and only 1 draw. And that match finished 2-0 against Malmo last week. It should have been more. I think they should have had 3 or 4 goals, to be honest with you. And I think if they play the same sort of game plan here, the same sort of style, then they're going to be scoring probably a couple of goals on Elfsborg, who I hope will take some lessons from last week and not be as timid. They've got a good away record this year, the best away record in Sweden, 6 wins out of 7. So we've got an unbeaten home side against an unbeaten away side who so something's got to give here, really, hasn't it? Unless it's a draw. But I could see it being like a 2-2 draw, really. Elfsborg do have plenty of attacking weapons, like I've said before. Guertin at home are very, very strong. I thought the goal line might be around 3 mark, actually, rather than 2.75. So we can get plus 100 on this. So, again, we only need 3 goals to make some sort of profit on the game. And I will always go with that 2.75 goal line over the 2.5 if I can. And I think it'd be a good watch. Guertin need to win if they're going to get back in the title race. And Elfsborg are not the sort of team who settle for draws very often. So it should be end to end. I don't see it being a cagey affair. So unless chances are missed, then there should be at least 3 goals in the game. But I do have a mixed record with Elfsborg. I tend to sort of go win-loss on when I bet on them. So hopefully I'm due a win this week.
You do for a win, Steve. Yeah, I like that, and I know you have more of a familiarity with this with the Sweden league than I may have. The home side, Guertin have obviously been a little stingy in terms of goals allowed. Kept a clean sheet in 80%. So 4 out of 5 of their last home matches, just allowing just 2 goals. Obviously proved to be tricky for Malmo as well, right? They couldn't even find the net. And they are struggling a bit, but Elfsborg on the same token remind me of the Malmo we're typically used to seeing, right? The side that just puts up 2+ goals per match. So I expect the home side to be challenged here for sure.
Yeah, they do have the best defensive record at home in the league. Only 4 goals conceded for Guertin, but I definitely think Elfsborg will score on them here. If Guertin can keep a clean sheet here, I'll say fair play to them. That would be a great achievement against this team at full of goals. We're going to move now to Paraguay. For the first time on the show in 5 episodes. Primera Division. I have to say, RJ, I've never had a bet in a Paraguayan game. So, this is your moment to try and persuade me to get involved and the listeners in the Primera Division. And the match is between Sportivo Trinidense against Resistencia.
Perfect. Once again, I have my main man Steve with the pronunciation, the perfection of the pronunciation. Yeah, it's well, hopefully I've won you over, Steve, and maybe some others in the Uruguay division, because that league is fun. I actually watched the match last week with Liverpool versus Plaza Colonial, and it started off crazy, right? A penalty in the first 2 minutes. Even the announcer was going nuts, couldn't believe it. And then Liverpool ended up getting the red card, I think, around 12 minutes in. But somehow, some way, the goals came through. But once again, South American soccer, it's pretty, it's an interesting dynamic, red card or not. So again, yes, we're shifting to Paraguay. This play stood out to me, and the play I like here, it is I think we're 3 matches into the well, we're going to be 3 matches into the Clausura, which is the closing part of of a tournament. But still the rosters are similar. So Trinidense, the home side, I'm looking at Asian handicap line minus 0.75 goals, minus 0.75 at minus 110. So what that means is if the Trinidense, the home side, were to win by 1, half the wager would be returned, half would be a win. So they have to win by at least 1 goal to get profits. So it's a little bit different than the straight draw no bet or money line here. So as I said, this is early in the Clausura tournament, but this stood out to me from the home side dominance on their own turf. They have won their last 6 matches going into the previous tournament, which is called Apertura, which is like called the opening tournament. And the roster has relatively remained the same. Over the last 5 matches, they have not failed to score and have kept a clean sheet in 4 out of their last 6, relatively with relatively similar opponents like Resistencia. Resistencia, on the other hand, have failed to score in 4 out of their last 5 away matches and have scored just 1 goal and allowed 11 in that span. So about as poor as you can get, right? Other than not scoring at all. And Sportivo, the home side, have mainly lived in the lower divisions. Most people may not know, but they made like a kind of an epic run in the Copa Paraguay, so the Cup of the Paraguayan country. They made it to the final, which kind of brought some attention to them and ended up bringing some fan base, some player personnel changes. And again, from a stat-driven perspective, this play looks very good to me. It is early in the tournament, but I expect them to win by 1, maybe 2. And I'm fine with a half win here. But I didn't really love the money line because last night when I looked, it was like minus 145, minus 150, and that's just too juicy for me.
Yeah, you're on this minus 0.75 Asian handicap at minus 132. I guess there might be some out there who prefer minus 1 Asian at bigger odds, but you do win half if they just win by 1 goal, and that is a handy tool to have in your back pocket, as I keep saying. Some of these you've got to make in betting. You've got to take the right line, haven't you, RJ? It's really important because these little half wins do add up over the course of a season.
They really do. And just a correction, Steve. So I had written down 132. It's actually minus 110. So that was a mistake on my part. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of just picking your spots. Like when I look at this play, I look at this play as a team who could absolutely win 2-0, maybe 3-1. But I have a hard time seeing 3 goals here. If anything, a 2-0 win would be good, but I could also see 1-0. I just, even if the away side scores, I have a hard time seeing the home side not score 2 goals here. So taking a little bit of a chance, but get a better return at the end of the day as well if it comes through.
Sportivo Trinidense minus 0.75 Asian handicap. They have won their last 6 games at home. Yep. So it looked a strong side in front of their own fans. I'm going to move us back to Sweden again. This is on Sunday now, 2 p.m. kickoff time in the UK, minus 5 hours on Eastern. What's that, 9 a.m. Eastern time for Norrköping against Degerfors. And this is a team total bet at quite a big price. This is on Norrköping's team total over 2.5 goals at plus 185. So I need them to score 3 goals or more, which might sound a lot, but they are against this shambolic Degerfors defence, which has conceded 40 goals now in 16 league games. They're a shambles. I mean, I watched them last week. They lost 3-0 at home to a team called Sirius, who Sirius are not great. They're not a great team. And if you're losing that many to them at home, you've got big problems. Now, Degerfors usually actually at home are a little bit more competitive, but away from home, they've lost 6 out of 7 games. They've got a 5-25 goal differential. They took some really big beatings in certain places this year. 5-0 at Malmo, 6-1 at Häcken. Gothenburg beat them 6-0. And I think Norrköping are very capable of hammering them as well, really. Bit of a weird team, Norrköping. I struggle to actually read them, to be honest. One week they play really well, the next week they lose. But they do have goals in them. They've got some decent scorers. You could look at Victor Linde at any time, but plus 138. That's not a bad price. Christopher Nyman is plus money to score. He's then main number 9. I think both should get on the score sheet here. Traustason, watch out for him. He's on penalty duty. So, I think Norrköping, all things considered, should certainly win the game. But you're not going to get rich backing them at minus 190 on the money line at all. And even the handicap, you're needing, minus 1.25 territory on handicaps, really, or -1, which is all right. But I'd just rather take the straight team total over 2.5 at big odds, plus 185. This is a full unit stake, but there's a really strong return if it can hit. So obviously there's a risk because the odds are bigger than normal, but if they certainly should get at least 2 goals, at least 2, and then you're just hoping they get a third goal. Maybe Degerfors can force them to have to score a third goal, but if not, then they can maybe run riot and win 3 or 4-0. I just love betting against this defense of Degerfors. It's terrible. And you would score against it, RJ. Seriously, I mean, it's a shambles. You watch them play; they are just so wide open. It's untrue. So I couldn't resist. I promised myself actually every single week I'm going to be betting a team total. Whoever plays Degerfors, whether it be a 2.5 team total or a 1.5 team total, I'm on it. So Norrköping over 2.5 goals on their own plus 185. That'll do me.
Yeah, I mean it's a calculated risk, right? The odds are favorable, right, for a return, and Norrköping have scored at least 2 goals in their last 4 matches. They've scored 2 goals in 3 out of their last 4 matches. Degerfors are, as you stated, dreadful. So this is a good chance, Steve, to take that sort of calculated. Call it a risky bet, but really it's proper for a good return if it comes through. I can't hate this one. And I'd like to think I could score on them too. I mean, I wouldn't mind going out there a little bit. I haven't played in a little bit, but I was a little fun fact, I guess. I was all state, right? So in the United States, they have like all division and then they have all state. So like top players in each state get nominated. So actually one of the funny facts for me, when I was a junior in high school, I was nominated for all state in my home state, which is actually the smallest state in the country. So it's not like a huge feat, but some of my friends who I did play with went on to play in actually Sweden and MLS. So I doubt I could score though, Steve. I'll tell you, the stamina, I don't know if I could keep up these days, but give me a
position
chance.
Did you play, RJ?
I used to play stopper. So central defensive. Right. Yeah. It was kind of the glue that tried to hold it all together, so to speak, It
was a long time ago. When I just played a bit of Sunday league football, as we call it over here, but I was a goalkeeper.
Okay.
Not bad handling, but it's been a long time since I've actually played soccer. It's weird. These days I'm more found on the cricket field or on the golf course, RJ, rather than on a soccer field.
Same here.
So
less chance of injury, Steve.
I could imagine you getting up, going up one of the set pieces against Degerfors and getting your head on one of the corners because they cannot mark anyone. and hopefully they won't mark anyone in this week. So
I like it.
Yeah, we'll move on to your final pick of the show, and you're going to the Lights of Las Vegas here. Las Vegas Lights against Hartford Athletic. So yeah, ironic, isn't it? You know, the gambling capital of the world, or whatever you want to call it. We've got a pick here in the USL Championship League.
Yes, so this is the league below MLS, right? So we got Major League Soccer and then the Championship League. Looking at a play, Las Vegas Lights versus Hartford Athletic. Both teams to score at -128. Both of these sides are at the bottom of their conference table, right? So they're the Eastern and Western Conference in the USL. Las Vegas is at the bottom of the West. Hartford's at the bottom of the East. This play just simply stood out from a stat perspective. Las Vegas, over their last 6 matches at home, have scored 1.5 goals, right? So just over 1 goal, and they've allowed 2. Hartford, on the other hand, have, again, scored 1.54, allowed 2.17 against. Very similar stats, but, again, the interesting part here, or fact, is the fact that neither side have failed to score over their last 6, nor have they kept a clean sheet. So 100% conversion rate to score, 100% conversion rate to allow a goal. Both sides, again, are at the bottom. There's essentially nothing to lose for either side. So I find this number very surprising. I would expect to see this -150, -160, to be honest, and I would expect this to drift closer towards kickoff. And both these sides are newly formed sides, right? Vegas was formed in 2017. Both sides have, I mean, if you look at the USL, there's mixed bag of talent. They got talent from St. Vincent, Panama, just various talent from around the world. A lot of younger talent too, looking to make advancements. There's generally not a lot of veteran talent in this league, so there's a lot of young players. And I don't have a firm update, but I know recently the U.S., the North America, the Football Federation are looking at some kind of promotion relegation setup here for MLS, USL. So hopeful in the next few years that's built and there's a nice foundation for relegation and promotion. Just makes sense. And, there's actually a team in Rhode Island that's going to be playing next year. Rhode Island, they're called Rhode Island FC. They're building a brand new stadium right on the water outside of the capital city. So there is a lot of expansion going on, and hopefully it continues. It's certainly not a top division in Europe, but let's, at the very least, Steve, let's hope both these sides find the net here in this match for us and the viewers.
I really like this pick, actually. I've always had a theory when 2 poor teams play each other, matches just go wild and open because they fancy beating each other, and the pressure's off. And it's just that you go into a game and you think, you know what, we've actually got a chance here for once.
Right.
So we might as well swing. We might as well have a go. It's a rare chance for either team to have. I mean, they've got 3 wins between them in, nearly 40 matches played. So they're terrible. You'd use it. I've been involved in sports teams where you're having a bad year, but then you do have the odd opportunity against someone just as bad, and you just go for it massively hard. So both teams score. Looks a really good pick. It's a sort of match I usually back overs blinding as well a bit. So well worth having a look at there. Las Vegas Lights against Hartford Athletic. On this is another Sunday fixture, I do believe. No, Saturday. Yep. Sorry, this is on Saturday. Okay, final pick of the show. I'm going to Norway here, and this is a Monday evening match between Viking and Arlesund, and the pick is over 3.25 goals at -107, and basically, I think this could be a really bad beating for Arlesund. They've had a really tough week, actually. They've got beaten. This is going to be their 3rd game in the space of 8 days. They lost 3-0 last weekend to get home to Odd. They lost 5-1 on Wednesday evening against Lillestrøm, and they also had a man sent off in that game very early. So they've had to play probably the last, I think, 70 minutes with 10 men, and they've got battered. And physically, that's horrible for them. And they've only got 4 days to recover. Viking are doing really well in the league this year. Big surprise package, actually. They're second place. No one expected them to be this high. They've won 5 games in a row. They've had 8 days to prepare for this one. And usually, although the last 2 have been unders, most of their matches do contain a lot of goals. Partly because they possess such a strong offense. They've got really strong players in the squad like Trippic, Lars, Jürgen Salverson. They've got technical players. They've got bully players who are physically strong. They shouldn't have had a problem winning this game. But I'd rather take the goal line rather than the Asian handicap, which is -1.5. I said last week, -1.5 Asian, one of my least favourite bets in world football. And what happened? The pick I took, it lost, didn't it? I have a terrible record on that Asian line. So I'll go with the goals instead. Arlesund, they're starting to score more goals recently, to be fair to them. They bagged one when they had 11 men in midweek. So maybe they can come here and get on the score sheet. But I think Viking can get 3 or 4 on their own anyway. It's just usually a good idea to be on the goals when you're in their games. Arlesund are there for the taking right now. They're bottom of the table. They're going to go down, I think. 7 points from 15 games is not good enough at the halfway stage. It's just 33 goals conceded. I'm expecting this to be 4-0, I think, is very possible. But, if not 4-1, 5-1. And, for those who prefer to take sides, then you could just take them on the money line, Viking here, add them to a parlay. If you really like handicaps, then take the handicap. But I'm always a goals man rather than a handicap man. So we'll go over 3.25 at -107. If there is exactly 3, we'll only lose half. But I think there's a good chance of the full cash.
Yeah, Steve, I looked at this play as well. I almost added this to my card. I like the other 3 that I had mentioned previously here on the show a slightly more, but I very, very much like this play and will be on it myself. As you said, the cram schedule for Alesund, sitting at the bottom. I remember this side when they were in the Obos League a couple of years ago. They were quite dominant, and they've certainly hit a wall here up in the top division. So and Viking is a side that's been on the crest, right? They're just every year creeping up the table, and this is the side that's really hungry for that top spot. So 3-1. I say here, right? 3-1 looks
3-1 feels about right. Yeah,
feels about right here. So yeah, I'm on board. I like this a lot, Steve.
Yeah, they're absolutely the biggest yo-yo team going in Norwegian football. Alesund, they go down, they come back up. They're kind of like the West Brom of Norway. Although West Brom haven't come up for a while now. They've got 2 years without promotion for them. But
right,
yeah, they just I don't know what it is. They did well to survive last year, Alesund, but looks like they're heading straight back down, and they'll probably come straight back up again. It's just the way world football is.
It's a seesaw for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is. That concludes the show. As always, it's been a pleasure, my man. 6 picks there. Let's hope we can go on the clean sweep and continue on the profit train for the World Football Show here.
Likewise, Steve. Great to be here with you, and good luck, everyone. Appreciate y'all listening to the show.
Yeah, do check out the socials at Because We Win. Also the Instagram account for other content from other sports like tennis. But otherwise, do gamble responsibly. Remember, all prices are available from the Bet Rivers website. Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. But from myself, Steve, Wyss, and RJ, it's goodbye. Until next time, take care, everyone.